Hey everyone, my name is Pixachar and I'm developing a fantasy RuneScape game called Manifold Mansion that you can wishlist on Steam now. Oh god, I have been working on this game for like 3 years now, and I've just this month gotten to the point where I was finally able to release the Steam page for it. I work a full-time engineering job and pursuing a master's degree, and I try to get 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night, so as you can imagine, it's taken me a while to get this game to the state it's in now, and even then I still have a long way to go, but I love it so much, so I'm never going to give up on it no matter how busy I get and no matter what life throws at me. And one good thing about the development being slow going is that I've had plenty of time for ideas about this game and its world to form and percolate in my mind, aging like a fine wine, hopefully not curdling like spoiled milk, maybe more like a nice cheese in a dark cheese cave somewhere. But anyway, today I wanted to share a bit about the game from a design perspective, talk a bit about how I developed the characters and the world in which they exist, as well as the concepts and gameplay for the game itself. This is also going to be a series where each of the next 4 videos will focus on one of the 4 characters in the game and the design and art behind each of them. I think those videos are going to be more art focused, this one's going to be more yap focused, because who am I if not a yapper? So way back in summer 2023, I was brainstorming new ideas specifically for games that would be quick to make. I wrote out dozens of ideas and came up with Witchy Brews during this time, as well as A Little Place in the Woods. I also came up with this idea, which in my Google Doc says word for word, point and click puzzle adventure like a room escape game, where you have an RPG style party, like characters you meet join your party as you go, and you can switch which character you are playing as to get different abilities / powers that will help you. And while I'm a big fan of ideas changing and expanding over time, I am also happy to say that that's literally exactly what the game has turned out to be. I always loved room escape games growing up, like I was actually obsessed with them as a kid, and since I like making point and click stuff, I was like, duh, I should make a room escape. But I didn't just want to make a plain old room escape game, I wanted to add something unique to the gameplay. The idea for using special abilities to solve puzzles was vaguely inspired by Breath of the Wild. I combined that with my love for original characters and story or interaction-based games, and there was my game concept. I jumped into designing what the game UI would look like, including the HUD and the dialogue interface, scribbled out some software design ideas, and got started developing. Manifold Mansion is set on a fictional planet called Veld that is modeled after our own world, but with a bit more magic. Specifically, the game takes place in the Summer Kingdom, which is surrounded by several other kingdoms with various cultural inspirations. Summer itself is sort of a melting pot nation. It's set in this world's version of the 1890s, one of my favorite historical time periods to study and fantasize about. As for the mansion that the game actually takes place in, one of my favorite movies of all time is Studio Ghibli's Howl's Moving Castle, and because I loved it so much, I eventually decided to read Diana Wynne Jones's original series. I think I finished all 3 books in 1 week, and then proceeded to enter the worst post-series depression I have ever experienced. The world she built in those books was so suffused with magic, I wanted to live there. And so, the house in House of Many Ways by Diana Wynne Jones became the inspiration for Manifold Mansion's setting, a wizard's enchanted house that changes on a whim and seems to be almost sentient, playing tricks and jokes on the people inside it. I did also want to make it my own by drawing on other things I love, medieval-inspired high fantasy, captured princesses, gothic romance stories, and the Victorian and Gilded Age eras. I tried to roll everything together and regurgitate it into something vaguely me-shaped, and I have to say I think I've succeeded so far because this game feels more me than anything else I've made so far, and I'm very excited to get to share it with others too. I brainstormed the rooms my mansion might have, picked several that I liked, and wrote out the puzzles for each of them, which gave me an idea of how each room should be set up and what objects or furniture they'd need to have. Then I started sketching the backgrounds on paper. For a lot of them, like this library room, I had a ton of different thumbnails before settling on a good angle that looked visually appealing, but also allowed you to see everything you needed to see to solve the puzzles. For this ballroom one, I came up with all these thumbnails, but I didn't like any of them, so I just flew to the Palace of Versailles in France and took a photograph to use as a reference, as you do. Some of them changed a lot too, like this hallway and this landing, and there's still a lot I haven't even started on yet, so maybe I'll get to share the process in more detail going forward. I'm always on the hunt for references for this game. I have an entire folder on my computer, which is just reference photos that I've taken at museums and on the streets of architecture, furniture, and antiques that I thought might be useful for my art. It's also just really fun to go to the museum with the mission of getting reference material, although I'm pretty sure I confused some security guards by taking a bunch of photos of the same chair from various angles. I started developing the game with this bedroom. I wish I could show the first pass of the art because it was literally just black and white lines that I drew in MS Paint to prototype the code for the game, but I think I deleted it. But anyway, this was the original style. I tried for the bedroom level, keeping it simple and a bit cartoony. Then I decided I didn't like that, so I redid it a little more high fidelity, and I actually created all the assets for the first 2 levels in this sort of sketchy style. Looking back at it now, I kind of still like it. It's cute and charming, but I think it wasn't capturing the feel I actually wanted the game to have. Or maybe I was just having one of those artist crises where you're like, everything I make is bad and I want to start over. But I just felt like if I released the game with this art style, I wasn't going to be really proud of it, and my goal was to make a game I was proud of. So I scrapped it all again and started over from scratch with the art style. This time I was going for a comic book inspired look with the line art, but with more painterly coloring and a bit more actual respect for things like light, shadow, and perspective. My goal wasn't to make the game more realistic exactly, but rather to make it visually richer and more aesthetically appealing, so that just looking at the game feels magical and being able to interact with it is just one step further. Even now, when I look at the art I've done so far, I'm still like, I feel like I could do better, but I do feel confident in it the way it is, and I think it fits the game, so I'm proud of it, and that's more important to me than it being perfect. The only thing I did keep from the earlier art was this portrait of our villain, Azor. I just really like how it looks, and since it's a painting on the wall, I don't really think it needs to match the rest of the art style. If I am anything, it is completely normal about my original characters. And by that, I mean absolutely and utterly fanatical. I think I might know these characters better than I know myself. And it's honestly a shame that I can't stuff 100 pages of lore into a single puzzle game, because that's really just scratching the surface of how much I love these characters. Manifold Mansion features 4 characters other than the player. There's Ludos, Elijah, Safia, and Celestina. When I created these characters, I first came up with the abilities I wanted to include in the game: seeing through objects, super strength, and time rewind and fast forward. I also knew I wanted the plot to involve rescuing a princess. The next thing I did was actually name the characters. All 4 names were pulled from various notes I had saved in my phone notes app over the years. I'll talk more about that in the upcoming videos, as well as the story behind each of the characters' designs. A lot of time also went into designing these characters, with the art style iterating maybe even more than the backgrounds did. I started with this cartoony pencil sketch style, and then switched to this more rendered style when I settled on the final painted art for the backgrounds. But I still wasn't totally satisfied with it, so I spent the first few months of this year totally redoing the character art to the point that I can finally say I'm happy with how it looks and will be proud to show them in the game. I honestly still feel a little weird putting this world and these characters out there after they've lived so long in my head. It's an amazing feeling to share something you've been working on for a long time, but this feels like such an important part of me that showing it to others kind of feels like ripping out my own heart and placing it on display. Kind of a graphic way to describe it, but that's how soul-bearing it feels to publish my work sometimes. Of course, it's still a ways to go before the game can actually be released. I think I have 3 levels down, and there's going to be 13 in total. Luckily, the level toolkit is pretty much entirely done, so it's really the art that's going to take a lot of time. I'll try to have a demo out as quickly as possible, and in the meantime, you can wishlist the game on Steam and follow along with its development here on my channel. I'll be posting more videos and shorts discussing this game, and hopefully that will be fun to see in the time before the game actually comes out. Whew, this is the longest video I've ever made. I hope you enjoyed it. Wishlist Manifold Mansion and share it with friends, and I'll see you in the next video.